was the local crematorium. For all the villages around, when people died, they come to that monastery to burn their dead. And I saw the villagers, whenever they put the body in the coffin, they'd always put it on the side, lying on its side, never on its back. The reason they told me was this, and I saw this happen once, because when the body was being burned, the coffin moved, and the person actually twisted onto their back. Because when the fire goes on the back, first of all, the muscles contract in a certain way. The person, even though they started on their back, started to sit up. They sat up, and their arm, their right arm, started to lift up and point. I never did anything. And if you're superstitious and you saw that, your loved one, your father or your mother, suddenly they sat up and pointed at you, you'd be very upset. But it was a natural phenomena. It wasn't anything sort of magical. No one had done anything wrong. It's just what happens when the bones get, or the muscles get burned. They contract this way, they pull that way. You sit up. That's why I always used to put them on the side. So sometimes it may be just that part of the skull just never got enough heat, that's all. So never take those things as more than they truly are. However, if you really investigate more thoroughly and you find, no, there must be some other explanation. And if there's other things happen as well, then you think, oh, that might be interesting. Who knows, if it's music, it may be Deva music, but you can never be sure unless you check out whether someone had another CD playing at the time. And if you take away all other possibilities, and you know that's a really wonderful person, then maybe, yeah, it could be those things. But be scientific, try and take away all other possibilities first of all. To Ajahn, why can't a person meditate when she can receive energy from the divine? Why can't a person meditate? You can meditate. If it really is Deva energy, but usually Devas don't give you energy, all they can give you is inspiration. In other words, they can give you encouragement. These are Devas. But because you're meditating, you actually go inside. After a while, you get to places where Devas even can't reach. In the jhanas, no Deva can reach you there. You're right inside. In fact, you're higher than Devas when you get into jhanas. That's why they can't reach you. So you can receive energy from the divine, you can receive energy from monks, you can receive energy from the person sitting next to you. If they're really upset and angry, you can feel that. You receive the bad energy from them. If they're having a wonderful meditation, it brings you along as well. You get energy from them. That's why that sometimes it's great meditating together, because when one person gets a good meditation, it raises you as well. That's why I sit here with you, actually to raise you, to get you a better meditation than you get otherwise. So this is actually why you can get energy from others. So you can get energy, but it's not the divine. There's many divine people here, many Devas. Is that quite clear? Is any comment on that question? Okay, next one. Here we go. Dear Ajahn, the flying paper. Dear Ajahn, crystals and stones help in meditation for easy concentration. Your comments, please. But don't sit on them because it won't help you at all. And the stones help in meditation. The rolling stones don't help. Maybe other stones do. Is that what you meant by the stones? Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones? No, probably not. Okay, crystals and stones. They can help in meditation, but they're not absolutely necessary. It's up to you. Question, can I practice half-open eyes meditation? Because every time I close my eyes, I tend to fall asleep. Yeah, you can keep your eyes half open until you get really concentrated, you get peaceful, you get energy, and then close them. Don't keep them open too long. Because I've already given people permission when they meditate to put their finger in their ears or up their nose or whatever, so to scratch those things. So please don't keep your eyes open too long. Can we say that... No, in other words, when you've got your eyes open, you've got the sense of sight is disturbing you. So it's okay at the beginning, but then close them. Dear Ajahn, can we say that peace is our reference on this spiritual practice until the end of the road, Nibbana? And at the end of the road, even peace is abandoned. Is peace just a means? Okay, peace is the means and the goals. Nibbana is the ultimate peace. Peace upon peace upon peace. When you put all the pieces together, you get the full crossword puzzle. But when you have some peace, don't give it away with anger. When you get angry, you give away your peace. That's why it's called giving someone a piece of your mind. So don't give away any pieces at all. You need every piece of your jigsaw puzzle to see the Dhamma. So make as much peace and pieces as you possibly can. So peace is a reference on the spiritual practice. So is happiness, worldly happiness, but the peaceful, beautiful happiness which is independent of things in the world. Not the happiness of getting what you want, not the happiness of eating, but the happiness of not wanting anything. The happiness of contentment, the happiness of freedom. Have you ever had those times in your life, wherever you are, you just don't want to be anywhere else in the whole world? Times when there's nothing missing at all. You want to be here, and you're just so happy to be here. Even if they gave you $1 million, you wouldn't leave. You're just so happy to be here. Have you had those times? That's called contentment. You want for nothing. You've got everything you ever want in this moment. You don't want to be anywhere else. Isn't that wonderful to have those happy experiences? That's the measure of your knowledge, your wisdom, your freedom. To be so happy just to be here. So peace, yeah. One last question. Here we go. In Mahayana Pure Land, there is so-called Pure Land. This has been described in Amitabha Sutta. However, Theravada does not accept the Sutta. Why? How can we, a layperson, distinguish a Sutta if it was preached by the Buddha? Okay, there's many ways of actually finding whether they're preached by the Buddha or not. One is the language. This is actually how Western scholars, because they were trained on examining the Christian Bible to find out what was original, what was added. And there's one way, which is like the way that language changes over the years. If you look at an old English book, say Charles Dickens, they use very different language than, say, Stephen King or Robert Ludlum. Just look at even Harry Potter. The language is very, very different, than sort of, say, Chaucer, was it Pilgrim's Progress, or Shakespeare. Because language is always changing. A good example of that is the word gay. If you look at a book in English about 30 years ago or 40 years ago, if you heard a term, the gay bachelor, it would be just someone who's carefree, who's happy. But these days, gay means something completely different. It means a homosexual. And you can tell that by context. So if you see a book where they have gay, and you understand what it means from the context, you can pretty much say when that book was written. In the same way that you can look at sutras of the Buddha, and you can pretty much say when that was written by the language and the ideas in that text. And that's actually how you can actually find out what was later, what was earlier. But it does not matter with the Pure Land. This is the Pure Land, Chempaka Buddhist Lodge. Because if you're pure, you make the land pure. You purify it of all your defilements by keeping your precepts. You purify it of all those defilements inside, like lust and anger, by keeping your mind really peaceful. You purify it of the 5 hindrances by getting samadhi. And then you purify your mind of ignorance by getting insight. And then you are the Pure Land. And Amitabha, what does Amitabha means? Is unlimited, unmeasurable. Mita means measurable, unmeasured radiance. Now I've told you about how to measure things. And how measuring means control. So if you stop measuring things, stop worrying about good or bad, and say, this is good enough. This is good enough for me. Stop measuring your progress against others or against what happened yesterday. So there's no past and no future, it's only now. How can you measure anything? Then with that non-measuring, your mind will get so bright and radiant. You'll understand what unmeasured radiance is. because you will experience Amitabha, the unmeasured radiance of your nimitta. And that's very pure. You'll understand the Pure Land. Not some place where you listen to music or whatever you want to eat, you just eat it. This is deep in the heart of the mind. It's great when you experience those things for yourself. That's what that word means. Okay, maybe one last question. Ajahn, you mentioned ghost smells bad. But what's about holy men or monks' appearance? They also smell bad? If not, why? It means they need a shower. No. They say that people who keep precepts are always fragrant. So for all of those of you who've been keeping the 8 precepts properly in this retreat, you do not need to shower so often. Because you just have fragrance. Isn't that so? If it's not, you haven't been keeping your precepts properly. But it's not, if you smell a ghost, you don't smell it through the nose. You smell it through the mind. It's not a physical smell. There's no, phenomes or pheromones, which actually float through the air. That's actually the what makes smells, these little chemicals. You experience this through the mind. And it's just, the ghosts usually smell bad or dead or something. And devas always smell just so fragrant. But you're not smelling it through the nose. If you could smell it through the nose, everyone would smell it. You smell it through the mind. Okay, I think that will do for now. As far as smells are concerned and fragrance and beauty, I mentioned with lust that, sometimes you look at beauty, but in Buddhism the real beauty, the beauty for a practitioner is their virtue. That makes you beautiful. And your happiness in meditation, your smile makes you even more pleasant to look at. So there was a person who was saying they were depressed because no one looks happy on this retreat. If that was the case, I'd be in big trouble because your meditation would not be working. As the days go by, you will look even more happy. When you get into the meditations, you get into the peace, you get into happiness, you smile even more, which means that you look more beautiful. Because meditation and precepts make you beautiful, I say this is more than Club Med. This is Champaka Beauty Salon. When each one of you will go home looking more beautiful, and your husband will say, "Oh, you look so fresh, so radiant, my darling." And say, "Oh, my darling husband, oh, you had a facelift?" And say, "No, I went to Ajahn Brahm's meditation beauty retreat." All your stress lines disappear, and you look much more beautiful. So, you're beautiful people today. Thank you.